Here's to us. See, look at makeup.
I love La Madeleine. Yum.
It's pronounced Le Madeleine.
Le Madeleine, I guess. I'm working on my Spanish right now.
For those of us who are trying to get French.
Yes. That'll be the next one. As soon as I get the Spanish down, then I'm gonna try to do a little French. Do you remember when the last time we were at La Madeleine's and the lady told us that they were going to open up one in near us?
Right.
Remember?
That's right. That's right.
They were having a meeting that day or something.
Oh wow. So if we go onto their website, like they're in Texas. So if we go onto their website, I'm sure we'll be able to see, where they're opening some new shops.
I mean,
wouldn't that be nice? Right up the street from us.
I was to say it's a good thing, but then maybe not. It's a good thing, but it just I'll have to be disciplined about it because I love their food so much. I just love the whole atmosphere. It'd be a great little coffee to meet for coffee and croissant.
Oui. And of course you walk in there and there's the French music and even while you're in the bathroom, it's like you can learn French.
I always do. I'm always in there repeating it.
It's so cool.
Répétez.
Oui, répétez. So yeah. Oh, so this is us.
This is us. Are we doing it?
Epiphanies.
Everywhere.
We're doing it. Little epiphanies.
Oh, look, see, let me,
what's that?
That's my watch telling me somebody's walking by my house. I need to remember to, how do I get in there to, mute that. Mute that. And let me mute my phone as well.
Oh, I didn't do that. All right.
I can hear your smoke alarm. In the background, just FYI. Oh, Jacqueline. That was such a look of defeat. Oh, I mean, you know what? I never knew, until I started watching TikToks, how many households in this country have that going on in the background. So, I mean, it may not be a big issue.
And the thing is I can't hear it because we've lived with it for so long. If I pay attention, I can hear it. I'm breathing right now.
Just breathe. It's okay. Nothing is perfect in life, right? And actually, it's a good segue.
Here, come here, Cooper. Come here. Go ahead.
It's a good segue if we're going to use it today. It's a good segue. Yes. One, we're authentic, we're real, right? This is us.
We are.
Yes, we are. This is us. But it's kind
life
of
and all.
Life and all. It's a good segue into the topic, actually. I think just when you're saying, breathe and all of that, is that life is happening for us. If we remember that, take that perspective, it's not happening to us, it's happening for us. But I was going to ask you, I don't know if this is going to be, we'll see. If someone out there hears this eventually, then yes, this is our very first podcast together. But
exactly,
like the framework. So since you kind of picked the topic for this week, you're the one, you sent it. I thought what would be neat is that, so since you picked it, I can read it. And
that'd be great.
And then we can include a copy in the show notes and on the YouTube. We'll put in case but I can read it and then ask you. So what about this? What hit you? What brought about the epiphany? Like, what was the epiphany for you? And what really, what about it hit you?
Yeah.
And you can talk about it from your filter.
Okay.
And then you can ask me the same. And then I'll talk about, because obviously if we're talking about it, hit both of us.
Right. Sounds great. Okay.
So I thought that would be a good way to start the podcast. And I can start over, by the way. I can stop this one and we can start recording again and do it fresh if you want.
No, we're fine. I'm okay.
Okay. Because I'm not I'm not an expert editor by any means.
I think that, it's interesting. So let's talk about a little epiphany that I'm having right now about looking at myself in this camera, looking at myself on screen. And when in looking at myself, I feel like I look like, I won't say death, but I feel as though I don't look, I mean, is this what I really look like? Do you know what I mean? It's what am I trying to say? How we perceive how we look is different from how we look, you know? And and I'm looking at myself and I'm thinking, oh my God, who is this woman? I think it looks okay, but I think that in life, we want filters over ourselves. I'm having an epiphany right now. Okay. Do you know how there are filters? There are filters in the computer. There are filters, which I'm
using
phone.
I'm using one right now. Disclosure.
Is that because we don't want to see ourselves? You know, or we don't want to present ourselves the way we actually are. I'm having an epiphany, but I'm just wondering. Because right now I want to put like a serious filter over this, I want more glow. I want more light. I want more shine. And when I'm walking out in the world, am I shining? Am I glowing? There's no filter. You know?
You know what though? I think, so you're giving me an epiphany. Is that yes. Because I was going to actually make a video later on with the question of how do we know if we're not living in our authentic selves? What are the symptoms? What are the signs? And one of them actually is, I think, if we feel like we have a need for a filter,
yes,
that is an indication that we're not fully walking in our authentic selves. Now, I'm not like, it's not a criticism though, because with all of social media, and thank God we didn't grow up with that. I feel so, my heart goes out to like the young people, especially young girls, young women. We didn't have an option of a filter back then, but there's that bar that we feel, I think, or I feel, and maybe you feel, if we're not fully walking in our authentic self, we're constantly going to feel driven to reach that bar, to bring ourselves up to that level, even though it's false. The filters are fake.
Right.
And in real life, you said, like, when we walk out though, we don't have filters, but yes, we do. We do have filters. Any external thing that we're using to elevate our self-worth or elevate ourselves is a filter. So if we're, if somebody is always, now, I mean, I'm not criticizing, like, I have nice things too, a purse or clothes or whatever, because we want to look nice and feel nice. But if someone feels like naked, have you ever heard somebody say, I feel naked without my makeup, or I feel naked, naked without my purse or whatever, my jewelry or whatever it is, then that's that's a filter. Those things are our filters, our external filters.
Hadn't thought about that. Interesting. I guess there are our filters, the makeup, and that is so interesting to think about that, because you get up in the morning, you put your makeup on, and then you go out into the world, and that's how you present yourself.
And that's okay. I think, like, if it's the cherry on top kind of thing, like sometimes when I go out, I'll have makeup on, and other times I don't. But when I was younger, I wasn't about to leave the house without hair fully styled and makeup on. And it took me like 2 hours to get ready. And I'm like, now, oh my God, I would never spend that much time getting ready.
You know, in France, the culture is, the women there, they would never take the trash out without having makeup, and it's the way they present themselves in the world, how they present themselves to the world, and how they want to be seen in the world. And so, in taking the trash out, you want to be presentable. You may see someone you've never seen before. You know, first impressions, I guess, is important.
Yeah.
But that's cultural. That's cultural. So is ours cultural? Is it? I feel as though theirs is a little different, though. I'm not sure what. I'm not sure. The American way of filtering and presenting ourselves is very different from the, French way of presenting themselves. I think theirs is more genuine, maybe, where ours is more hiding. They're elevating themselves, bringing themselves out, being themselves, and we filter to hide who we are.
Okay, so that's so funny that you say that. I know this is going to sound so planned, but it's really not. So last night when I was thinking about this video I want to do today about how do we know if we're not walking, what are some of the signs, about not being walking in our authentic selves, not fully walking in it.
Right.
So one of the things I'm going to talk about is when I was turned 16, I wanted this Louis Vuitton purse. I was like, it was real popular with high school kids at that time. And all the popular girls had one, and I was just obsessed. That's all I wanted. I wanted this Louis Vuitton purse. I had to have this Louis Vuitton purse. And
right. Who wouldn't want a Louis?
I know. Well, so now, and no offense to Louis Vuitton, or anyone out, it's just personal preference. I had like the brown one. I know they come in different colors. I find that purse quite hideous now, the colors. I wouldn't want it now. Okay. Right. But I was obsessed with it then and was just attached to it. And now I've lost my thoughts. So, what was the last thing you said? Because it tied right into what you just said.
I was talking about filters and being authentic.
Hiding.
Whether we hiding. Yeah. Okay.
So I was doing some data collection on myself and I'm like, okay, why was I so obsessed? Why did I want this Louis Vuitton purse so bad? And so one reason was to elevate it. I didn't call it my filter. You just with your epiphany gave me, the clarity. But it is kind of like an external filter. But the other thing was I had, because I was living within that self-image that was given to me as a child. And part of that was I had a lot of shame about myself. I was very, very overweight before a time, I was a forerunner in that field. So there weren't a lot of overweight people like there are now. So I stood out, but so I was very overweight. I had a lot of shame about that and a lot of unworthiness and just felt like disgusting and all of that. And that purse, I used that purse like to hide that as if I could hide it from society. But it was a way to hide that from society, from others, to hide all of that shame and everything. I didn't want them to know. Of course, I didn't know this. This was all subconscious to me at the time, but it was a way to kind of hide behind that purse, to hide that shame behind that purse. So interesting that you say that about the French. Yeah. That theirs is maybe more of an empowering type thing and ours is more of a hiding.
Well, I just had another epiphany. I'm kind of proud of us.
I'm super proud.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm proud that we're not hiding. We're out here. Yeah. We're like, okay, we have something to say and we're going to say it. And maybe what we say, other people can relate to. And, maybe they're having little epiphanies too. And maybe there'll be more epiphanies for them and they can ask themselves some questions, like, am I hiding?
Yes.
If I'm hiding, why am I hiding?
Yes. And if I'm hiding, why am I hiding? And how do I stop hiding?
And how do I stop hiding?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't think I've ever done that. I've always bought purses and things like that as an expression of who I am. And and even my clothing, it's all an expression of who I am. The same with anything I buy, it's an
Yeah.
expression of me. Even my home decor is an expression of me. So I never saw any of that as hiding.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Do you have,
anything,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
do I have
Go.
what?
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just gonna say, is there anything then like something else beyond that? Is there anything that you've used to hide, even if it's like making yourself small for someone, or like, have you ever hidden who you are?
Geez, talk about, in relationships, right? Where
Mhm.
you don't want to seem as though, I thought I muted that. You don't want to seem as though you're smarter than you are to the person that you're with, do you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Oh my gosh, I did a lot of
Yeah.
that. I did an
Yeah.
awful lot of that. Um, yeah.
Why
So
do we do
yeah,
that? Why do we do that? Why do we hide ourselves? Why do you think we do that?
we want maybe because we don't want them to think ill of us. If we're shining too brightly, then they're not going to be shining.
Yeah, that's true.
We want to let people shine. And part of mine is from my childhood. I grew up Catholic. God forbid if you if you said you loved yourself, liked yourself. I mean, it was all about sacrifice to
Yeah.
shine your light. Are you kidding me? That would be too much. You are supposed to, maybe that's where it came from. You grow up Catholic, it's like you're not to give yourself. I mean, you are not yourself.
Mhm.
You are supposed to give yourself to others, and they are more important than you are. It's them first.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I grew up. So yeah, interesting. I'm glad I grew out of that one.
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, if we're not actively like creating our own self-image as
Mhm,
adults, it
mhm.
is amazing like how many things influence the development of self-image when we're children, and we don't know any better.
Yeah.
We just accept whatever anybody tells us about ourselves and the
Mhm.
world. We
Exactly.
accept as true because we don't know any better. So it's not just from
Yeah.
parents and teachers and friends, it's from religious institutions and social media nowadays, and all kinds of things, just cultural
Yeah.
messages, and so
Yeah.
many things get in there
Yeah.
that really aren't who we are authentically, but we take it as if that is who we are authentically.
I
Yeah.
think we talked about this before, a little bit of this before, where I was like, we're not, and maybe it does tie in a little bit with being ourselves, society, like when we're walking around, the blank page. Remember we were talking about a blank page, and in your workbook, it was write
Oh,
things that you love
yes.
about yourself. Remember
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
Write something down, or write a list of what you love about yourself. And I
Yeah.
said to you, the page is blank, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and the realization was that we're probably walking around, all of us, as blank pages,
Yeah.
right? And then society and what someone else is doing, and that all fills us up. That
Yeah.
fills our blank page, and it's not authentically us, it's them, it's not
Right.
us. So I guess, I
Yeah.
was wondering, like, is everyone walking around like a blank page and just becoming everything around them instead of being themselves, you know?
I think
So
there certainly are. I would say it's the majority, sadly. I mean, I think there are like
yeah,
enlightened beings who know who they are, but usually those
yeah,
people stay out of like the limelight and the spotlight because they don't need it. They don't need that external validation. They don't need followers and likes and all of that. So we don't, that's the sad thing, is that we don't know about them because
yes,
they
that's
don't,
true.
yeah, they don't need it in general. I mean, we see like Gandhis and,
Yeah.
all people like
Those
that,
are exceptional people, aren't they?
exceptional and few and far in between, it seems. But I think
Yeah.
it's because they don't need what all the people with the blank pages need, that external validation. So, and just the amount of suffering that's, going on in the world. Yeah. I think there's a lot of people with blank pages, because when we're not our authentic self, it allows so much suffering to come in onto that blank
Well,
page.
fortunately, I have filled out the pages.
Yes. Okay.
So it's not so blank anymore, which is very nice. It's very nice.
Yeah.
It's empowering to realize how much of a great person you really are when you stop and think about it.
It is. And you are.
So, oh yeah, honey.
Yeah.
I'm getting it more and more.
It's amazing. I mean, I find it like really amazing that just working on that, even like at the 1% mark, the 2% mark, I'm amazed at like how quickly that confidence comes in, and like how things like fear for me kind of are starting, to go away. I'm like, wow, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like to fully walk as much as possible, to walk in, to be my authentic self, to pull her out, because she's in there, right?
Yes.
Our authentic self's already there.
Right.
We already have all of everything we need within us. It's just a matter of pulling that out, recognizing it and pulling it out. And
Right.
I'm like so excited because we're going to be unstoppable.
You are so right. I felt that. That's like, you are so right. There's nothing, even setting up for this podcast today. Okay, we're going to find the light. We're going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out. And we did.
Yeah.
We're like, nothing is going to stop this, and
because we have that confidence. Yeah. We know, like when you were over here that day and we were talking and we came up with the name, that we already had a name for the podcast.
Yes.
And then Little Epiphanies, and then Little Epiphanies everywhere. I mean, that thing, it just hit me. It was like being injected with, adrenaline or whatever. And you just know it. You have like a knowing, and then the confidence comes from that, and then the fear kind of disappears. I think the more confidence we have, the less fear. There's no space for the fear. So and then that makes you
absolutely,
it just builds and builds and builds, like compound interest. And you just, we're not like about to give up. We're like, we're going to push through this thing until we figure out the lighting and
but I think that our mission in life is to become our authentic selves, and we're probably doing it publicly. We're doing it publicly, becoming our authentic selves.
And hopefully inspiring
and that's okay.
others.
Exactly. How cool is that? Why not?
In my mind, I mean, I just think what a wonderful world this would be if we all were our authentic selves. Because when you're your authentic self, you're happy. I mean, it doesn't mean life is perfect by any means. Life is never going to be perfect. There are always going to be struggles, but it means when we're our authentic selves, you're happy. You want others to be happy. You're resilient. You're persistent. Is somebody messing around with you in the background? Like, it's okay. Is it human or animal?
Dog. It's animal related. Sorry. Did I have that face?
You had the teacher face.
Oh, yes. That's how I looked with my students.
Yes, that's right. I know that look. Didn't have to say a word. You're like, they would miss. They knew that look. Yeah. I'm like, better lock it down. Anyway. But And so should we do like a bio and talk about like how we're coming into this thing, or what do you think? Or should we just do that in the notes? Like, is a written bio, or?
Why don't you go ahead? You start. Go for it.
Great.
Since
I
you
had to
brought
ask
it
the
up.
question, like one of
Since you brought it up.
like one of those students
That's
asking
funny.
questions like, well, you tell me. Why don't you tell me? So I always did that when I didn't have the
That's
answer
funny.
to my students. I
Yeah.
would like fake, play it off like I knew the answer, but you tell me. I want to hear
Yeah.
it from you.
I think this is so great. This is our first one. So maybe, as we progress along, it's going to, people are going to be really, they're going to see our progression. It's going to be so awesome, the progression. Probably the backgrounds will change. The colors on our cheeks will be different. And I don't know, but I think that as this goes along, it's going to be great. I'm excited about that.
So. My wigs will change. I'm going to tell everybody right now. And I'm going to just be so authentic and throw it out there. I can't believe I'm going to do this. A year ago, I would have been so fearful about this. But since I've started even creating that program and even how we've been working on it, I'm telling you, 1%, 2% in, I'm amazed at remember the praying mantis that flew in on my water cup that time?
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And I just sat there. I mean, okay, a year ago, I would have flipped out and run down the street. So same thing. I can't believe I'm going to announce this publicly, but I don't have any fear about it anymore. It's so fun. I don't have the shame. The shame is going away too. So I have alopecia.
Isn't that something?
I have alopecia. I wear wigs. I have the frontal fibrosing alopecia, which means that it's the follicle scars and falls out and it won't grow back, at least yet. There's not a cure yet. I believe that there will be a cure one day. So just saying that, so you'll be seeing me probably with all kinds of different wigs. I figure why not? Some women have their shoes. Some women have their wigs. And it's why a
lot of women have their wigs.
But that's right. And that's why I put a filter on, because it also affects my skin. And it's, for me, I like it. I put a little smoothing out of the skin because the alopecia affects my face too. But
I feel like I need a smoothing out or something. I don't know what I need, but.
And it's better than surgery. You know what I'm saying? I'd much rather have better than surgery. But I think so. They will. So they'll get to know us, and as we go along in the journey. But I mean, I think it's such a beautiful concept. I think is that the filters that we're bringing in to these little epiphanies that we have are, mine is from and they really do complement each other. I think and overlap in a lot of ways, but mine is coming from a sense of empowerment that's why I'll mention authenticity a lot. Empowerment, the empowerment and strength of finding your authentic self and then living out your life from your authentic self. Having, being sovereign over yourself and not letting anyone else do that. So that's kind of my filter. And
so
yours?
Mine is about empowerment also, but more in empowerment in the way of, I guess, taking a holistic approach to your life, creating your life, and creating it from a place of slowness, not rushing, not hurrying, just being, and finding joy, little pieces of joy throughout your day. And with that, I teach French wine, so that's like my thing. I think I want to get more women sipping the most beautiful wine in the world, French wine. So, and it all goes together. It's all part of life. Slowing down, relaxing, enjoying, from art to wine to, beautiful food. That's what I'm all about. And I want to empower more women to just say, yes, I'm doing that for myself.
And you know what?
I think we didn't do it for a long time. We're just beginning to do this, which is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We are just beginning to do this for ourselves. And it feels really good.
It does. It really does. I, in so many ways, lived my life the way others close to me who have influence in my life or who use a lot used to have influenced my life. Uh, I live my life the way they wanted me to live it in so
Right.
many ways.
Yeah.
And now that we're
Right.
kind of switching over, like you just said, and living this, there's just like this fire and this passion and this joy. Don't you find it? I mean, like the more we get
I'm gonna
into this,
cry.
you know, the more we get
Yeah.
into it, it's like, I'm like,
I know.
that's the check engine light. That's the check engine light to say,
Yeah.
I found my authentic self, or I'm finding pieces of my authentic self. This is who I
Yeah.
really am. And you know
Yeah.
what? I will never give that up again.
I
Now that
know.
I found it, nope.
Oh
Nope.
man, once you get there, there's no going back.
Yeah.
There's
Even
just
if
no
you're
going back.
just standing at the bottom of the mountain, about to climb that mountain, it's enough.
Mhm.
Like even just that little tiny step forward is
Yeah.
enough to
Yeah.
make you say, this is too, I'll never go back. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Remember when I took that trip to San Diego?
Hmm. I don't know. You take
I
so many trips. Wait a minute. Which one was this with your son, or was this the
So,
one by
nope,
by
no.
yourself?
This was me by myself.
Okay. Yes, I do.
Let me tell you. First off, it was scary. It was scary to think about, I'm going to take a solo trip myself,
Yeah.
but I absolutely loved it. It was the best and most empowering thing I've done this year so far. Just getting on a plane, going someplace I'd never been before, and just saying, okay, I didn't even have a plan. It was like, okay, when I get there, I'm just going to figure it out. Let's just figure it out and just explore. And it was the best day I've had in years. It was, and I'm going to do more of that. Just get on a plane and go. And where I land, I'll figure it out.
I love that.
Maybe that's an epiphany for life. I'm just going to do this, and where I land,
make the most of it.
make the most of it. Figure it out.
When you were saying that, I was thinking, what a great metaphor or philosophy for living life. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
exactly.
Let it unfold.
Just jump.
Just jump.
Just jump.
Just jump.
And let it unfold.
And let it unfold. And I find when I do that, I'm so much happier. Like I'm not resisting, and that resistance and that struggle, it just falls away. And again, are there, issues where you have to problem solve? And yes, of course, it's life, but it's just, there's a difference. It's not that struggle. Yeah. Just let life unfold. So true.
That's the best way to do it, because you never know. You never know what you're going to find. I mean, I ate the best lobster roll I ever had in my life on that trip, it was magnificent. And so I'm going to do more of that. I think that women, oh my gosh, what a way to connect with yourself. Just go somewhere. Just go somewhere different and explore. That's what Sweet Flâneur is all about. It's just explore, take a walk, ponder while you're walking, look at art, look at, you discover who you are. So it's that way.
True. That's true.
And once you do it, there is no going back. There's just no going back, because it's so empowering and it feels so good to just feel like you're taking the reins on your life,
Yeah. That's true. And I think the
Mm-hmm.
more we do that, excuse me, my allergies are, it's spring.
I know it's that time of year.
I got to start taking my allergy medicine. The more we do that, I think, so if we're kind of in between, if we're like, let's say we're like, so I know I'm not living in my authentic self-image because I'm still carrying around shame or fear or these negative things that were, given to me as a child. but I'm going to be brave. I'm going to be courageous enough to do something that scares me. I'm going to do it anyway, like traveling alone. And then like it is so, I cannot like emphasize that enough. Just that first tiny.
Sorry.
Hi, Cooper.
Come here, Cooper.
Cooper's in agreement. And so he says,
Absolutely.
yeah, he's like, can I get an amen? And so but so we just take that little first step, there's no going back. And it just kind of like kicks out. The more we do that, the less room for shame and a feeling of unworthiness or whatever that is, from that original self-image. It just immediately, the shift just already starts to happen. Just with one step, one little step forward. I'm like, why didn't I know that 20 years ago? Why was I so afraid to even take that first little step?
Oh my goodness.
Wish I would have known.
And the trick too, I know. And the trick too is to not beat yourself up about not knowing 20 years ago.
Yes, absolutely.
So there's a dance you have to go through with that one.
Yes.
When you say, oh, why didn't I know? Because goodness knows.
I know.
The way I'm feeling right now about, my life and how I mean, 20 years ago, please, where would I, then you start to think, okay, well, if I had started this 20 years ago, then where would I be?
Right.
So,
yeah.
Okay. We're here and this is right now. And
exactly where we're meant to be.
In the here and now. So we're good. Yeah.
Yes. As you told me, like one of the most profound things that you've ever spoken is that why, when I like think about the past or something with the past, like, why are you thinking about something that doesn't even exist anymore? Why are you getting angry about or anxious about something that doesn't even exist anymore? And I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why am I doing that? Yeah. You said that.
Right. Oh my God.
If somebody asked me like, what's the top 3 most profound things Jacqueline ever shared with you, that would definitely be in the top 3. I mean, it just really was a mind shift for me, perspective shift. I'm like, so anytime I go back now to, if I focus on something, why did this have to happen or whatever? I'm like, why am I, that doesn't even exist anymore. Why am I stressing about something that's imaginary? There's plenty of real life stuff, to deal with. So why?
The past is like so in the past, it's like it's not even there anymore. We obsess about things that aren't there anymore.
And then same thing going forward out into the future. If we're like stressing or have anxiety about something in the future, again, it's not in existence. Why are we doing over something that doesn't even exist? So it may never exist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, Miss Allie.
All right. Good job. Shall we bring it to a close?
Oh my gosh.
Shall we bring it to, let's see, what is our time on there?
What is the time? Are we like an hour and a half?
Jacqueline, I couldn't see the clock and I thought, oh my God, I didn't hit record. No, I didn't hit record.
No, we're recording.
I see
You're recording.
I see the clock. Okay.
All right.
Can you see the little arrow on the screen? I hope not, because it's been there the whole time. Can you see me moving around the little arrow?
No.
Okay, good. So it's not recording that. Yeah, we're at about the 54-minute mark, depending on,
not bad for us. That's pretty good.
What we edit out. I don't know if we'll edit out anything.
Okay.
We'll see. I don't really know how to edit out anything. So we might not, just because I don't know how. I don't know. We'll
just
see.
Throw it out there.
All right.
And people will be able to see the progression as we go along, because it will get much better, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
You'll see us learning and practicing our skills and improving them.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
We should say though that we intend to have this be a bi-monthly podcast for right now. So to every other week, basically every 2 weeks a month or something, depending on the how the days run. But
but we always have something to talk about, and I'm sure that there'll be more. Like after a while, I'm sure it'll be weekly, because we always have something to talk about.
We do. Well, we didn't even get to today's, so we'll just do.
We didn't.
No, but we will, because it's a good one, and I want to share it with people. But that's what I'm saying. We'll never run out of topics. So agreed. I think we'll probably end up going weekly. But let us learn, get our feet wet, and get figure out what we're doing.
Yeah, little epiphanies everywhere.
You know what?
What?
Not only
What?
is it, oh my God, I just have like this vision. So not only is it
Oh,
because we see, and the reason why we're doing this whole podcast is because you and I have we see little epiphanies everywhere. We always are having these almost on a daily basis.
right.
As we continue on with this podcast, what I'm hoping is that the other people, the listeners who follow along,
Mhm.
we're
Mhm.
going to see them. They're little epiphanies everywhere, all over the world. Please spread it. Like spread everybody, that we're all little epiphanies, and they're going to be everywhere. I hope. I mean, that's my hope.
Everywhere. Oh, wow. We could have a group, Little
Mhm.
Epiphanies Everywhere community.
Yes.
And they could all talk about their little epiphanies, little discoveries about themselves, about their world, about what they're creating, about their little joys.
I love that.
That's something. So yes.
Yeah. Future plans, future vision.
Plans. Very cool.
All right. Well, I'm going to hit
Very cool.
end on the record button because I don't know.
right.
Do we need to figure out a way how to end our podcast, I guess? Or do we? I don't know.
Well,
We need a sign off, a weekly sign off.
well, let's just say, well, thank you for joining us.
Yes. Thank you.
And thank you for coming along with us on our journey,
Yeah.
our growth, our creating our lives
Yeah.
as we go along through little epiphanies everywhere.
And we'll also have, we're not only a podcast audio, but we'll have this video also on YouTube. So we have the YouTube
That's true.
channel by the same name. And yeah, if anybody has like thought, we'd love to hear your comments, your feedback, your thoughts. If there's
Absolutely.
an epiphany that you'd love to share or you'd love us to talk about at some point, please, reach out and let us know.
Very cool.
Yeah. All right.
Very cool. Okay.
On that note, I'm going to stop the recording if I can find it. Still learning. Let's see. Is that it? Nope, that's not it. Okay. Oh, there it is right there. Duh.